Hi, thank you.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, welcome everyone. Sorry about that. Oh, go ahead, Amanda.
Oh no, I was just saying hi.
Well, we want to welcome everyone for attending this second in our series webinar for Coalition for Chambers for Sustainability. We're really excited. We're going to learn about a variety of different sustainability programs from 4 different chambers, 2 from the United States and 2 international. My name is Michelle Thatcher, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of the U.S. Green Chamber. So I want to make sure that everybody stays tuned until the very end of the webinar, because we're going to be providing some information on grant opportunities, upcoming events, as well as post-webinar engagement. So today's program, I just really want to give a huge shout out to the Coalition of Chambers for Sustainability team. We have Amanda, who is our Chamber of Commerce Coalition Manager. So today she will be the organizer and moderator. We have Julie, who's the Communications Coordinator and Sustainability Consultant. So she will be the person that you'll be sending your questions to. So she'll be handling the Q&A. Haley is our Sustainability Research and Marketing Associate. So she will be handling all of the Zoom mechanics. So if you have any issues, reach out to her. And then we will have Nancy, who is our Corporate Social Responsibility Advisor, and she will be giving a brief presentation at the end of the webinar regarding, again, the grant opportunity. So again, welcome. We're so honored to have everyone with us again on this Friday. I know Fridays are always hard for everyone, but it's really, we feel like this time during the COVID-19 is even more important for us all to come together and building and learning from each other. So thank you again. And Amanda, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Again, we invite each of you to join on building this exciting new coalition. If you would like to be part of the first steps and meetings or would like to know more, just send me an email to amanda@usgreenchamber.com. I will be putting that in the chat as well. Throughout the webinar, if you have any questions or any technical difficulties, please just go ahead and let Julie know in the chat box. She will be handling the Q&A as well at the end. I would first and foremost like to thank all of our speakers today for joining the call. Each of them are very accomplished and have largely contributed to the sustainability sector through their chambers and also personally. If you would like to see their full biographies, they have been posted onto the Eventbrite. Today we'll be having, as Michelle mentioned, national and international speakers. We are excited to welcome Colombia's Green Chamber, the Las Cruces Green Chamber from New Mexico, the British Argentine Chamber, which I believe is located in the UK, and the San Francisco Chamber in California. Our first speaker today will be Mauricio Cardenas from Colombia's Green Chamber. Mauricio? Haley, could you please unmute Mauricio?
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I'm glad to be part of this panel. I've been with the Cámara Verde de Comercio, the first green chamber in Latin America, since the beginning. I'm a co-founder and currently the chairman of the board. We represent the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce in Latin America, and that includes, for the time being, in addition to Colombia, Mexico. We also have correspondents in Peru and Chile. Next, please. The founding companies, I'm not going to go into details, but are the logos that you are watching on this slide. 2 of them have become, after 7 years of their having founded the Green Chamber of Commerce in Colombia, have skyrocketed. CO2 Zero, that you see on the right at the top, has become one of the largest issuer of carbon bonds in the Colombia market. Hybrid tech has become one of the fastest growing renewable energy companies in the country. When they founded the Green Chamber of Commerce, they were merely startups. Please. These are allies. There's a whole of them that you won't necessarily recognize their logos. I just want to point out the ones that are international in nature. At the bottom, you have the Impact Hub that we work with, Core Woman Foundation. That's a staple on our everyday job, because in the kind of work that we do, we use their methodologies to support women's empowerment. And in this center, we have the local branch of the Global Compact, in Spanish, Pacto Global. There are several more that are listed here that are local in nature, and that includes at least 3 chambers of commerce. Next, please. Our motto: connect, strengthen, and partner with the following key stakeholders. Next. They are the so-called green startups. We also work with anchor companies. What are they? They are big companies who are pursuing a sustainable path. They include well-known brands as Unilever and a few others, both large domestic firms and multinational companies who partner with us in supporting the growth of the green startups. We also partner with NGOs, government agencies, and most importantly with investors, as we are strongly linked to the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Colombia, where a whole lot of incubators and accelerators have already gotten interested in are supporting the sustainable component of their work. That's where investors come into the picture. Next. What are the target industries that we have been working with in the last 7 years? Renewable energy, as I mentioned, carbon markets, as I already mentioned. Organic agriculture, we partner with a smaller version of Trader Joe's that has supported organic agriculture farmers in Colombia. They not just sell their products, but they also give them technical advice, and we partner with them. Green mobility, that's a big issue in a country like Colombia, where there's very few electric and hybrid vehicles as a proportion of the automotives. Circular economy, that's become a hot issue in Colombia, and the government has engaged businesses by regulating their responsibility for post-consumer products. There you have also the recycling side of the circular economy. We partner with the Green Building Certification Institute based in Washington, D.C. They are the people who certify LEED buildings, and there's a number of activities that we regularly perform with them, including getting the handful of green startups who have something to provide to the big developers and the big companies that obviously need space to do it in a sustainable way. We also partner with a Latin American movement for sustainable fashion by the name of MOLA. And interestingly, they have raised our awareness about the impact that discarded clothing has on the contamination of the seas, second to plastic. Last, Colombia, along with Brazil, are the 2 countries in the world with the highest biodiversity, number of species, and obviously the kind of flora and fauna that you find. So there's a huge market for ecotourism. Obviously, with the pandemic, that's slowed down, but we are partnering with the leading organizations that are supporting the renewal of the ecotourism activities. Next. What's our value proposal? You may have inferred from my earlier comments, we provide incubation and acceleration services to green startups. We connect them with sustainable value chains that are led by these anchor companies I mentioned. And finally, we represent their interests in public policy arenas. We've partnered, some of us come from a longer perspective. Myself, I've teamed up with the Ministry of the Environment for over 20 years. In the past 2 years, we've partnered with the Green Business Area of the Ministry of the Environment, or EPA, to incentivize green businesses by means of resolutions or regulations that are issued by the ministry or
So
that have to go through the
but
legislative process.
this is the 30-second warning. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, what is our vision? Last, which is next. What is our vision? Since we've partnered for the last 7 years, and for 4 or 5 of those years directly with Michelle Thatcher, the CEO of the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce, we continually contribute to the Climate Action Coalition. Since we live in a country with big inequalities, we support projects that bring social inclusion, not just women empowerment, as I mentioned, but also different disadvantaged groups. And finally, we support these green startups to scale up their sustainable innovations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauricio. Clearly, your chamber has done some exceptional work within the green movement, especially with so many target industries and allies. I didn't realize you guys had so many allies, but I was particularly impressed by the fact that your chamber was the first green chamber in Latin America. We absolutely love pioneers in this field. We need more of them. So our next speaker will be Carrie Hamblen from the Las Cruces Green Chamber in New Mexico. Carrie?
I'm ready whenever you are.
Go ahead.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this, and what an honor to be a panelist with some amazing organizations today. The Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce, just in case you didn't know, we are about 40 minutes from El Paso, Texas. And we are in the southern part of New Mexico, and we have a town about 100,000 with another 100,000 in the county. And so in 2010 in Las Cruces, our city had an Olive Garden restaurant come to town, and our entire community went nuts saying, yay, we're finally a real city because we have an Olive Garden. And yet we had 3 locally owned Italian food restaurants that were like, what about us? And so we had a group of local business owners get together and say, we need to elevate the voices of locally owned businesses. And that's how the Green Chamber started. And it would be ridiculous for us not to look at the benefits of renewable energy, because in New Mexico, we have 350 days of sunshine a year. So to capitalize on the renewable energy impact is what the founders of the Green Chamber were really also looking at.
Oh, it seems like Carrie may have lost connection.
When they named, I'm sorry?
Oh no, sorry, you had paused momentarily.
Okay, hold on just a second. There we go. My apologies for that. How's that now?
You are perfectly clear now.
Okay, great. Sometimes it's, if I have a different window up, it happens. So what we do is we talk about the triple bottom line, of course, as Mauricio talked about, of people, planet, and profit. And we really were helping local businesses identify that there's a different way to do business. We have our Think Local First efforts, which includes a directory and different activities in the community. We also talk about public lands and economic development, and we're known throughout the country as a leader in connecting local economies and protected public lands. And then one of the things that we're really proud of is that we have the Sustainable Business Recognition Program, and I'll get into that in just a minute. If you can go to the next slide. Thank you. As we talk about with the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit, we talk to people about treating them well, treating the planet well, and then profit will happen when you work on the other two. None are more important than the other. Next slide. And so with us, with our Think Local First Guide, we have a large retired population in Las Cruces. And so as much as we'd like to go electronic with our Think Local First Guide, there's still something that people have to have in their hands. And this Think Local First Guide not only serves as an opportunity to educate people about the importance of supporting local economies, but it also serves as a directory of our members. There are people now, we see more and more people, especially during a pandemic, about supporting local businesses, and they use this guide as a reference for them to go ahead and support local businesses. Prior to the pandemic, we did ribbon cuttings, we had green drinks activities, and in our case, our community is experiencing a lot of construction, and so we have one major thoroughfare that had a great deal of construction, and so we developed this event called the Construction Compadres y Comadres. And what that was is I was able to arrange and finagle local public leaders to participate in a supermarket sweep, a parking lot rodeo, a spare tire obstacle course. But the point of that was to create more awareness for these businesses that were impacted by major construction that was shutting down streets in front of their businesses. Next slide. One of the things that we've become very well known for is our ability to connect public lands and economic development. In 2014, we were instrumental in getting the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument designated in New Mexico. And with that, what we wound up doing was helping businesses become more invested in their public lands. And we created a marketing toolkit to teach those businesses how to cross-brand public lands and what they do. And so they created, and I say Organ Mountains Desert Peaks, it's just easier to say OMDP. But these businesses created OMDP products like the OMDP coffee blend, the OMDP cupcake, the OMDP cocktail. And what that was is that was showing that businesses were saying, this is my monument, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that into my business and cross-brand it. And what we've wound up doing with this toolkit is sharing best practices with other communities in California, West Virginia, Utah, Wyoming, Washington, D.C. several times, and Nevada. And so it's been a really great opportunity to teach businesses how to cross-brand their public lands. And as we see in Las Cruces and New Mexico, and we talk about ecotourism, we have an outdoor economy here. We're seeing more people try to get outside while they're trying to be safe in their communities. Next slide. And there we can see some of the products. One of the things that was the golden ticket for us is that we created the first of its kind OMDP Girl Scout patch, which Girl Scouts love their patches. And so this was the first of its kind Girl Scout patch that was created for a national monument. And we've worked with other Girl Scout agencies across the country to help create those patches as well as another means of creating more awareness about the national monument. But you'll see the cocktail on the right. What we've also done is talked about the importance of the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which we have in the United States. That's important about creating parks and baseball complexes and soccer complexes and all that. So we've been able to really kind of adapt what we've done in the state. Next slide. Thank you. And so the Sustainable Business Recognition Program is a program that started from a recycling recognition program through the state. And then we modified it to locally working with the South Central Solid Waste Authority, which is the agency that handles all of our recycling, but also is the landfill manager. And it's an annual event. And what we do is we have businesses self-nominate through a lengthy, not too lengthy, it takes about 10 minutes to fill out, but to report how much they recycle, if they buy reused printer cartridges, reused recycled paper, a number of things, and they self-report that. And then what we do is we have a committee that scores those applications. And what we do, if you'll go to the next slide, Haley, please. And what we do is this allows us to inform businesses on green practices and share that. We have a public education program with our local media that publicizes what these different businesses have done to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And so it serves as a public education program. But it's also a great way of recognizing businesses for their effort. We'd like to spotlight what they do and what they're doing to help reduce their impact on the planet. But it also shows, it helps businesses kind of understand, oh, there are different ways that we can reduce our impact on the planet. Like, we don't have to buy plastic cups, we can use ceramic mugs, and we don't have to buy paper towels, we can use cloth towels. And so it's really helping share that information with our local businesses on how they can reduce their overhead and increase their profit. If you'll go to the next slide. And so one of the things that we have two other chambers in Las Cruces. We have kind of a standard chamber, and then we have a Hispanic chamber. And one of the things that I like to do is to walk the walk. And so what we've done is we don't have, one of the things that's typical of chambers is to do a ribbon cutting and a proclamation and have it in a big fancy frame. Well, I don't like doing that. If you'll go to the next slide, Haley.
So sorry.
What I like to do.
30 seconds.
Thank you. I'm finishing up. So what you'll see is that's a reused palette for our proclamations that we give to businesses when we celebrate their opening or a new chapter. We also have on the left, you'll see those are cut wine bottles. Inside is glass cullet that is recycled that we do as a gift to businesses who host our green drinks. And one of the things that we also do is provide eco starter kits that helps also engage businesses, but also helps reduce use. So there's a stainless steel straw, there's a spork, there's a people towel, not a paper towel, and a reusable water bottle. And so we work really hard to walk that walk. And so if you'll finish the slide there, Haley, that'd be great. And so I look forward, this is my contact information, and I look forward to a really rambunctious and exciting question and answer period.
Thank you so much, Carrie. First of all, congratulations on another year of your Sustainable Business Program. I think it's an amazing program because clearly it provides a lot of ideas for the chambers and members that you guys have to become more green.
Thank you, Amanda.
Of course. Our next speaker will be Susana Ecclestone from the British Argentine Chamber located in the UK. Susanna.
Hello, thank you everybody for having me here. Thank you, Amanda. And thank you for the invitation. It's the first time, obviously, we participate in this. And I met Mauricio through one of his multiple events. I don't remember which one, but it was interesting that we connected, and I'm very glad we did. The topic of this conference is really interesting to us because we are a traditional bilateral chamber of commerce, which you would understand. As you know, we promote all sort of businesses and opportunities within the membership that we have. And we promote, obviously, business relationships between Argentina and the UK. We are completely bilateral in the sense that we work in both directions. So we also promote the UK for Argentine businesses that are interested in entering the market. What is happening nowadays, because of the reality, I think, that is happening both in Latin America and Argentina and in the UK, we have more and more opportunities to work towards green initiatives and green industries. And we have been very busy in this particular sector, directly or indirectly through some of the members that we have and business opportunities that have presented to us. Even for the traditional markets that Argentina or sectors Argentina is famous for, which is the traditional oil and gas sector and the mining sector, what is happening now is the companies that are involved in these businesses are more involved in green practices or green strategies. So within the chamber, we have seen an interesting turn into the way that the companies try to introduce their products or their services in the UK market, and how they promote what they are doing and the actions that they are taking towards, green strategies. And that has been absolutely fascinating for me. Directly or indirectly, consciously or not, we have been really focusing on a lot of this in the last 2 years. as any chamber of commerce, we work on trade missions and we promote Argentina and the UK. But lately, we have also been working promoting Latin America in general. We work very closely with Colombia and Mexico. We are part of what is called the Council of Latin American Chamber of Commerce. And we were with Spain, Mexico, Colombia, and the Caribbean on different strategies promoting the businesses that we have within our membership. But also in the UK, we are part of what is called the Council of International Chambers of Commerce. That includes, 60 international bilateral chambers, and also working on strategies to promote the businesses. And within this, you can imagine there's a lot of green businesses and green, different ways of operating. Lately, if you don't mind moving to the next slide, please. A lot of energy has been put into renewable energy and the multiple aspects of this sector. We were very busy last year working on different presentations and information sessions because of the demand that we had from the UK investors and infrastructure companies and different types of businesses in the renewable sector. Because obviously Latin America is a very interesting market. And I say Latin America because again, we work towards promoting the business in Argentina, but nowadays it's very interesting for us to work with the whole region. One of the reasons for this is in general, the UK and the businesses are still not very familiar with the opportunities and with the region. There's a big gap of information, misunderstanding as to what they can do there and to what our countries can offer in this particular sector. So last year there was a lot of work put on this together with the Argentine embassy in the UK. That are part of, our supporters, and the Argentine ambassador is always our president at the Chamber of Commerce. That was really a sector that last year was absolutely fascinating, and we worked on a lot. Also, we have been promoting events and opportunities in the food sector and agricultural practices towards sustainable, ways of operating. And again, it's an educational piece that we work on all the time. Again, because there's a lack of knowledge from the UK into what Latin America and the rest of, and Argentina has to offer in that. Everybody talks about the Argentine beef, the Argentine wine, and this and that, but they don't understand at to what level, these farmers are working and the level of sophistication that there is in the agricultural business and agri-tech in Latin America. Last year we worked on climate change and food security with one of our partners, and that was an extremely successful event. And now in September we'll be having a specific tailored event on smart beef farming. So everybody's invited to join us. And the sustainable initiatives that the farmers in Argentina are using to grow the cattle. And this goes aligned, obviously, as everybody knows, with the UK being presidents of the COP26 this year. And Argentina is also very busy in the financing of green projects. And there's just a new agreement that has been signed by 31 Argentine banks on green bonds and sustainable financing. And although, obviously with the virus and everything has been pretty much stopped at the moment, this agreement has already been signed, and we have new banks joining us. And there will be an explanation as to the scope of this and how farmers will benefit from this. And we hope to have, obviously, the British counterparts also talking about, how the green financing is working in the UK, and it involves and how it's applicable to the agricultural sector. In the technology aspect, we worked on technology constantly, and that is another sector. There's a bit of lack of understanding or appreciation from Europe as to what Latin America is doing in the technology world. On our technology event in June, one of the virtual conference rooms that we had was about Tech for Good, and all the technology that is being applicable and being put into operations now, or being developed, innovation towards green technology, or anything that has to do with sustainable practices. Again, Argentina and many Latin American countries are exporting a lot of this innovation at the moment. But at the same time, the UK is really interested in investing in these technologies, and because of these kind of events bring awareness to Europe as to what, you know, our Latin American startups are doing.
Sorry, Susanna, I hate to interrupt, but this is your 30 seconds.
All right, very good. So this is pretty much what we are doing at the moment. We are also going a bit non-traditional, supporting, for instance, a band that is quite famous in Argentina, but they have a triple impact project that has to do with supporting schools, supporting recycling and eco-business. And that is like another kind of opportunity that the Chamber is also very happy to take part in. And these photos are some examples of what we normally do and how we work. As a small chamber, we have the privilege of working very closely to our members and our companies. So thank you for the time, and I hope that this more or less covers, what we have been doing at the moment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Susanna. Clearly, you guys have been doing a lot with the green action. I also saw through your website that your chamber is a big advocate for social sustainability as well. You mentioned something about having a green tech presentation. You recently also had a Women in Tech roundabout, didn't you?
Yes, also, and we would love to develop that a lot more.
That's amazing. I love that. Our final speaker for today will be Rodney Fong from the San Francisco Chamber based in California. Rodney?
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Amanda, for including me, inviting me. This is an international audience and an honor to participate. I am with San Francisco Chamber of Commerce, grew up and born and raised in San Francisco, and very interestingly grew up in a small business. Our family ran the Wax Museum down at Fisherman's Wharf for many years, and so have a different understanding than maybe some other CEOs of chambers, the operating of a small business, the savings, the sustainability that you can impart in your own business on a daily basis. Want to share with you that the Chamber in San Francisco is 170 years old. We are a very progressive chamber. We are not necessarily a green chamber of commerce. However, we've just imparted much of the sustainability and policy thinking and advocating into our mission, into our DNA. And so we are driving a lot of the hopefully cutting edge policy that is being impacted and felt around the world. We have had a long relationship with a program called CICE, the Chamber for Innovation and Clean Energy. Ryan Evans, the executive director, is actually on this call. And that chamber, that program is a nationwide network that really focuses and helps Chamber of Commerce's advocate for green energy, advocate for climate change, and hopefully making an impact around the country. We do an event every year called the EBBIES, the Excellence in Business Awards, and we always have a sustainability award. This last year, we honored Rainbow Grocers, which is a cutting-edge grocery store, chain of grocery stores here in San Francisco. As you can imagine, in California, there are many alternative ways of eating green, plant-based products around, which is a huge component part of the natural gas problem here in the U.S. On the forefront of things, we are at an incredible time right now, and from our perspective here in San Francisco, we've hit an economic disaster. San Francisco will probably lose 50% of its restaurants. Small businesses are collapsing on a daily basis. And not to scare you or paint a doomsday picture, but we're anticipating, and hopefully this is around the world, a major shift in economic outlook. We are focused on much of the elements of the Green Deal, looking at infrastructure, creating jobs, hopefully all around green economies, If we have a choice to rebuild certain things, maybe it's affordable housing, that we're going to lean and advocate towards modular building, hopefully saving some carbon footprint there. We're going to lean towards infrastructure and go heavier on transit solutions in San Francisco, less cars, less fossil fuel, more bikeable lanes. We've already removed gas in new construction for kitchens, so natural gas will be slowly eliminated. Emphasis on hydrogen fuel cells, solar, of course. And as you guys are tracking the news in California, unfortunately, we have these series of wildfires. They are probably not going to stop unless we curb the climate change direction. But the wildfires themselves in California have really triggered the idea, the notion of these microgrids. Right now, many of these fires are being created because there are live power lines running across beautiful green hilltops just to serve a very small town in rural California. If we can make those little small rural towns self-sufficient or partially self-sufficient, we eliminate that danger of running those high power tension lines, and when high winds strike, that's usually when we have problems. Want to share just a few other things, and I'll try to avoid Amanda from cutting me off on give me the 30-second warning.
Sorry.
In the past, and this San Francisco has had a long history of sustainability. Over 10 years ago, I was working with a company called Go Solar, and it was incentivizing and creating tax credits, benefits for companies in San Francisco, residents in San Francisco, to put solar panels on their structures. That still is needed and continued, but it's made pretty good headway, especially with some of our public sector buildings having solar and renewable energy. The plastic bag ban, I don't know if it started here or not, but we absolutely absorbed that. And now there is a ban or a fee if you buy any one of those little pink bags at a grocery store. In particular, to some of the immigrant-owned businesses were using these bags. And so we really try to reach out to many of those communities to try to slow them down and let them understand the impacts, especially to the ocean. As we all know, plastics in the water is not a good thing. If I can just kind of touch on, again, the affordable housing need for San Francisco. You've probably heard it on the news that we have an affordable housing or even a middle income housing shortage. That's not just in San Francisco, but that's a regional Bay Area wide problem. Many of these things that we're talking about are not just in the core of our city, but really the regional problems, the regional transit problems that we need to address to try to get cars off the road. We need to build housing throughout the San Francisco Bay Area, not just in San Francisco. So I'll sort of stop there, but there's a lot going on. Again, our Chamber of Commerce is really pushing on the advocacy side, on the public policy side. And you know, there's nothing better than taking care of your own front lawn. And so if we're going to practice what we preach, San Francisco certainly has to implement many of these things, what they are trying to do. So I'll stop there and avoid the 30-second warning and maybe turn it over to answer some questions during that time. But a pleasure being here, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rodney. It meant a lot. I am amazed by the fact that despite not being a green chamber, you guys have truly been very influential with policies regarding like natural gas, your plastic bags, etc. Especially because these are not just affecting the members, but the community as a whole, because it's affecting, you know, households, local stores, etc., etc. Amazing work.
Thank you.
So now I would like to thank, in general, I would like to thank all of our speakers today for sharing their wonderful initiatives. I think that with the implementation of programs like this, we can, as chambers, really hold a lot of influence over the community members and really take one step forward towards this green movement. I would now like to hand it over to our communications coordinator, Julie, who will be covering the Q&A. Speakers, if you could all please turn on your videos and mics. I believe everyone is already on. Okay, Julie, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Amanda, and thank you to our amazing speakers. I've definitely learned a lot. This is a chance for our attendees to be heard, so if you do have a question, feel free to message me in the chat box. Just to get the ball rolling, I'll start with Mauricio. So you mentioned a lot of really amazing things that your chamber is working on, such as the circular economy, sustainable fashion, and biodiversity. But you're also, you know, a real trailblazer in the field, being the first, you know, green chamber in Latin America. What is the impact that you have seen in other chambers, you know, following your precedent, or maybe just the communities that you're impacting by focusing on these works?
Thank you, Haley. I believe the impact we are witnessing it now because during the pandemic, we've multiplied fivefold our activities. In the pre-pandemic times, our events, like any other Chamber of Commerce, would be maybe 1 or 2 a month. Now we do 2 or 3 a week. Obviously, we do it virtually, and oddly enough, that's made us international, because when we did our face-to-face events, the audience was restricted to the people in Bogota, despite the fact that we streamed the happenings. Nowadays, at any given event, we have people connecting from all the way from Mexico down to Argentina, Peru. We have one of the people who knew about us connecting herself from Peru, Maritza Villamizar. So I believe the pandemic has done us a favor in that regard. Secondly, in the everyday activities, we've progressed substantially, because now we have a pool of close to 20 mentors who are supporting the startups in what we call our roadmap. There was word about it in our region in Colombia, bordering with Ecuador, and now we are starting applying that model, the mentoring model, with their own members, and the conduit has been the Pasto Chamber of Commerce, Pasto being the capital city of the state of Nariño in southwestern Colombia. So all in all, our impact plus the kinds of alliances that we have can be easily traceable. We now have a membership of close to 600, mostly startups. Obviously, as they are a tiny drop in a bucket. Colombia likes to think of itself as, or Bogota for that matter, as the aspiring Silicon Valley for Latin America. Obviously, we're competing with Mexico City and Sao Paulo, and I imagine Buenos Aires, but we are getting there. And the interesting feature of what we are doing is that the likes of Mass Challenge and Impact Hub and some global players who support startups are realizing that what we've done in the last 7 years is appealing for them as well.
Most definitely, yeah. You've done a lot of very impressive growth and have had a lot of influence in these many different, places. Congratulations. My next question is for Carrie. You definitely have proven that your chamber can walk the walk. And so I was just wondering, how do you think you can get other chambers to walk with you instead of just talking the talk and kind of greenwashing?
Well, it's really interesting because we have the 2 other chambers in town, and their former leadership did not share the same values that we did. And they've had some new leadership over the last couple of years. And, it's unfortunate because I think it takes a pandemic to actually get people to recognize where they need to spend their money. So we've had a lot of conversations about ways to help our local businesses. And I'm glad that they're finally on board, that they're helping. And we do talk about the importance of being sustainable and reducing our impact, but and we weave it. Our narrative is more of weaving. When you support local businesses, you are reducing your carbon footprint. You're keeping money in the community. And so, those two kind of go hand in hand with us. So what we're seeing is that folks are starting to get on board. But it's also changing people's customers' values and habits. You know, about 6 years ago, we had a plastic bag. Well, we don't have a ban per se, but we have the bring in your reusable bags. And it took about 5 years for people to kind of get the hang of that. And it's doing the same thing with local businesses. And I think the pandemic is kind of amplifying that. And so we're seeing more and more people do that. But what we do recognize in this community is that with our 3 chambers and any of the business serving organizations that we have, our end destination is to make sure our business community thrives, that all of us have different roads to get there. And so the beauty is that we all work really well together. It's not necessarily a competition, but it's a way to help complement what the others do. Because in my case, it's myself and a membership coordinator as a chamber. So we don't have resources to go bigger at the state level, but we do a lot of grassroots stuff. And so we understand that there has to be some partnerships there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Susanna. I was just wondering, you mentioned a lot of using technology for good and just how the UK is prioritizing investing in all of the achievements that, you know, Argentina has made with their clean tech. As a binational chamber, what do you see as like the future vision for the green sector post-pandemic, especially with technology?
Well, I have to say that, like Mauricio, we have seen our network really explode through this pandemic, and we see that as a really positive, aspect of this terrible situation. That has contributed also to us, promoting more, not only what we do, but the companies that we have and the opportunities that we have within, the chamber and our network. In the case of technology, what's happened was that, technology companies, not only in Argentina, but also in Latin America, and I want to stress this because it's something that is a big movement that is happening at the moment with amazing innovation, is getting more present in the UK market. And this is helped by all this and the revolution. So it's not that the UK was not aware of this, but you have to think that the UK has changed their shift since Brexit into a different region. So Brexit forced UK investors and UK companies to look at other markets. So when that started, this whole kind of movement started, but now with this pandemic, and the UK leaving the European Union, every UK company is definitely looking at Latin America. And that includes all sectors. But in the technology sector, Latin America is very advanced. And I think there's a lot of interesting competition with what the UK has and what can be developed. And there's an interest from UK investors to go directly into Latin America to look for these opportunities instead of waiting for these opportunities to come to the UK. So technology has allowed that kind of communication to be faster and for investors to look at these projects much faster and go directly into the source and make the investments for these projects to grow. So I think the future is brilliant in that sector.
Totally. Yeah, I would never have thought of that Brexit angle, but that's definitely fascinating. Thank you so much. And for Rodney, I was particularly shocked when you said that San Francisco might lose half of their restaurants. So with so much financial destruction that obviously everyone is facing right now, do you see this as kind of an opportunity to rebuild in a sustainable way, or more as a, environmental consciousness will most likely be put on the back burner while everyone heals?
Yeah, you point out exactly that moment in time that we're at right now to make a decision choice. If you have to rebuild something, are you going to choose the path A or the path B option? Price is going to be a sensitive piece of that, but we do have options. And while this sounds absolutely crazy from our seat here in San Francisco, or at least my seat, I feel this is nothing but opportunity. I think this is a leveling, that economic destruction is almost a leveling of playing field for us, the greater us, to make change and make this a significant reset for San Francisco, a significant reset for California, And here is opportunity for us to reimagine literally what jobs look like, reimagine what the work place is going to look like. You're probably in San Francisco going to see many companies who've already resigned not to come back to the office permanently. Twitter, Facebook have made significant announcements that they are going to work from home. The office footprint is not going to be the same. You may come into the office to convene with your team and be creative, but you're going to go back home to execute those tasks. And this, I'm speaking for a larger, very dense urban setting. Of course, San Francisco is #2 next to New York City as far as density. So we're very concerned about the proximity to each other. But the world is going to change, and I feel it's nothing but opportunity.
Wow, yeah, I'm eager to see where everything goes.
So am I.
All right, well, thank you so much for participating in this Q&A portion. Please welcome our CSR advisor, Nancy Moya, who will be going over some grant opportunities.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Moya. I'm part of the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce, and I'm happy that they invited me for this short presentation. As you see, it's kind of a Word document, so it's not like a formal presentation. So I'm just not gonna talk a lot about this because you will get the information later on. But again, thank you. I'm in Cancun, and which is one of the most sustainable cities in Mexico. And Mauricio mentioned about ecotourism. So this is one of the cities that is very sustainable. So I'm very happy that I'm doing this presentation in this beautiful city. And I'm from El Paso, so I'm also glad to hear that Las Cruces is doing something, because I know there's nothing in El Paso about, or something similar about what you guys are doing. So thanks for that. So my presentation is about grants, including for regular certifications, workshops, trainings that could be part of your CSR or sustainability department, and lead as well, because I'm also lead advisor. For those who don't know that, it's leadership in energy and environmental design. It's a certification if you want to have a sustainable building. So the first one, it's a Federal Grants 101. It's one of the most important in the US. There's no specific deadline for that, and the industry is government, education, public housing, nonprofits, companies, small businesses, individual, and foreign applicants. So this could apply for those organizations that are guests that are not in the US. So for this specific one, you have to do a little bit more research. I couldn't find if for foreign applicants could apply for foreign nonprofits or foreign businesses. The only thing that I know, it could be applied for scholarships, fellowships, targeted grants, and achievement awards. So I would encourage you to do more research about that. For the other ones, everything applies based on the industry that you are. The other one, if you can scroll down, please. USAID grants, there's also no specific deadline. It's for businesses, personal, community, education, and real estate. And I guess for the audience that we have today, I guess community grants and real estate are one of the most important, because for community grants, it could apply for marketing initiatives. And as you remember, CSR practices are also part of your marketing program. And for real estate, could apply a LEED, especially it says for new construction. So there's also an opportunity for those who want to have the LEED certification. If you want to scroll down, please. Scroll down. Oh, no, we have the grant source. I selected this one because it has opportunities for COVID, especially the area of outreach. So I heard that San Francisco is having a lot of issues, so that could be an opportunity for you guys. Again, outreach could apply marketing CSR. So that's a good opportunity. The next one, an entrepreneur empowered organization. It focuses on marketing and social media for nonprofits. As you may see, most of the opportunities here are for marketing. So it's a good option. For the Kim and Harold Blewett Family Foundation, I like this one because it's based on the project and it's any industry. So it doesn't have to be marketing like the other ones. So if you have a specific project that has to do with your sustainability program. So this is a good opportunity for you. It's a more diverse and more complicated application form, but I think it's worth it to spend your time applying for the application. Can you scroll down, please? We go to the, scroll down. I don't know how to say Mebane Foundation. And I like this one because it's more based on education.
So sorry to interrupt, but this is the 30-second one.
Okay, it's for education and sustainability workshops for those who are doing workshops. That's a good opportunity. And the last one, it applies for international focus. So those that are international nonprofits, you can apply for education, economic development, critical, and human needs. Remember that CSR, it's also part of social aspects. So it's economic, environmental, and social. So whatever project you have and focus on social initiatives, that's your opportunity as a national and international organization. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Haley, if you could please stop sharing screen. I believe Michelle will be saying the close remarks, but I'm not sure if Michelle is on the call. Michelle, can you hear us?
I am. Yes, I am. And I apologize for not being there via video, and I apologize for my PowerPoint not getting to you. For some reason, I'm in this very bizarre void of no internet service or very limited internet service. So we're celebrating my partner's birthday today, so I'm not in my office. So, but I wanted to say thank you.
Page of logos for you. I just displayed it. I put together the page of logos for you.
Oh, wonderful. Well, perfect. Thank you for doing that, because I wanted to go right into, we've only been at this for about a month or so. We had our first webinar just exactly 1 month ago, and we had chambers come on and raise their hand and say, yes, we do want to build a coalition of chambers, regular chambers of commerce that care about sustainability, as well as the green chambers coming in, as well as the LGBTQ chambers and the African American chambers and all of the other chambers that all have a focus of saying, as the San Francisco Chamber said, it's time for us to shift the way our economy is moving. This is it. Yes, it's devastating, but we have this absolutely critical time that we will never have again. And tons of money is coming in all around the world. We need to get the chambers who do have the credibility. We're not, even as a Green Chamber of Commerce, a lot of people do think that we are a green, environmental organization, but we are a Chamber of Commerce just like everyone else. And so we have a certain credibility being a chamber, and so we all need to come together at this particular point. And there is a very small window from a time perspective. Trillions of dollars are coming in for economic relief, and where are those dollars going to go? So I was really, I'm just so empowered to hear the stories today, and it reiterates and reconfirms why this coalition is even more important. And so I don't know if you have the list up, but as you can see, we have the Metro Atlanta Chamber out of Georgia, the Arizona Green Chamber, the German-Mexican Chamber out of Mexico City, the North Florida Green Chamber, they're out of Jacksonville, Blair County Chamber out of Pennsylvania, the National City Chamber out of California, and I know Nancy made that connection when she was working with that chamber just last year. The British Argentine Chamber out of the UK, and the Colombia Green Chamber of Commerce, of course, out of Colombia. And Mauricio mentioned that we've been working together. I think it's been about 5 years. And this particular relationship with the Colombia Green Chamber is really why the start of this coalition has even come to fruition, because we realized the back and forth of how we work together and how we support each other. Their chamber helped us translate an entire online certification program. And we've gone down there several times and attended events. So we realized the power of all working together. And so we hope that we can continue to do that. I also want to just make an announcement that we do have our next webinar, and we're still trying to figure out what to do with this particular one. We might invite more speakers, or we might even take a deeper dive into some of the strategies and financial strategies that chambers are taking into account. I know that Carrie and I had like a 2.5 hour conversation the other day, and she said, wow, like this is such a key opportunity. And so let's all start to share stories. So that might be coming up at the end of August. And we're also sending out a survey after this webinar, probably receive it next week, because we want to get your feedback. So we want to invite each of you to be part of this building of a coalition. It's not about us as the U.S. Green Chamber. It's about everybody coming together and providing these types of programs, insights, ideas, collaboration, and being able to move the needle forward. Because together we are stronger, and we want you to be part of it, and we invite you. So I just want to say thank you again. I want to thank our team. Oh my goodness, you guys just did an awesome job. Again, this is just the second one that they've ever put on. So I just, commend them and all of their hard work and effort. And thank you one more time to our phenomenal speakers. So I'll hand it back over to you, Amanda.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing screen. Thank you so much to everyone that came and attended the meeting, as well as all of the speakers. I really like the conversation we have. I think there was a lot of new points made, and I hope that you guys can join us for our next webinar that will be happening at the end of August. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
And Haley on the backstage.
Goodbye.